I told you I got published? What if I told you that the link of that publication is in the description? And what if I told you that there's another poet that also got published by the same people in the same collection, which is Bethlehem Cancel Christmas, a poem by Nitika Balaram, in Free Verse Revolution. Go check it out, go support, because it's super cool and super awesome, and I'm very grateful to have had that poem published that I did get published. Hello, welcome to whatever this video is with me, Seamus. I got my he pronouns. I thought, why don't I do like a little writing session, just a short video, nothing too big, but something to further the work I'm already doing in terms of my writing, in terms of my poetry, and just kind of take you guys along for the process. And then my brain was like, that's a good idea, Seamus, you should do it. And then I said, thank you, brain. I am pretty good when it comes to ideas. So the thing about my writing process is that I like to just kind of start off with like a base idea. So either a theme of like love, if I'm experiencing something in my love life I need to write about, or if I'm experiencing a certain emotion that the sea is bringing me, or the sea, calling back to last video's poem. Let's see, sometimes the idea of summer, right? And then I just kind of let my brain go. I am on the spectrum. I think it's in the description, but I don't know if I've ever made that clear in a video. But for me, writing is my special interest. It's something that I can just, there is no real, like, I sit down and I take a deep breath and like, yeah, sure, I have like that like time of where I'm like, okay, this is the theme, this is what I want. And then after that, it's just autism bring over. But I usually like to write out in nature. It's part of my own personal spirituality and beliefs, to write and to be poetic, to be romantic, and do that all out in nature, because it's a gift to have that ability. It is a true, genuine gift. And so on the same hike, actually two poems, one hike, they kind of work off each other, the same ideas of like, this poem has like the phrase unseen birds sing, and then this poem, which I'll just read the full thing. I may not know where the rolling river goes, which is a reference to a song by House Call. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. It makes me cry. And that's hard for me. Crying is hard. So if you can make me cry, you did something. But I am blessed to meet the people along the trail. Mother presents me with an owl, calm and resting, a fish meandering by the shore, a gray songbird mere inches from me, dapper damselflies that pose pretty for pictures, and if I squint, I can see Father Green Man leading a choir of unseen birds in him. So the idea of unseen birds singing, that imagery, carries across both poems. Same hike, two different poems. La la la. I think this was gonna be me writing a poem, and then it turned into me talking about writing and that, and I kind of like that more. So we're gonna keep on that. We're gonna keep on that. We're gonna keep on this little like authors annotations. Anytime I publish, I just talk about how much I love writing. Oh, ideas! I have ideas. One thing I did want to talk about is my poem that got published does include themes of, I don't know how to really describe this really. Again, autism, it's a communication disorder, so my ability to get from here to here, good luck. Good luck, Charlie. But it does include Indigenous groups. It does include the idea of, God, what am I trying to say here? Because like in the poem, it's perfect. Just read the poem and you'll understand what I'm trying to get at. Just like in my last video's poem, which I will just read again because I said the wrong date. That's my bad. I even put that in the description. Like, guys, I said the wrong date. I put the wrong date in there in the original poem. I fixed it. I edited it. I own up to my mistake, okay? Because here's the thing. You can have mistakes in life, and that's okay. You can make mistakes in your writing. In terms of dates. You gotta fix them, and you gotta own up to them, and then you just gotta move on. So, here is the corrected, edited poem. How happy it is to be free by the sea. It fills my heart with glee to see the sea. The green like my favorite tea. How homely it is to me, the sea. The waves are my heart's key. It reminds me, the sea, it is no better than the tree. It is deserving of justice just as much as Wounded Knee, that horrid massacre of Lakotas in 1890. How happy it is to be free by the sea, to ponder the framework of the future for you and you and you and me. So that poem I got published doesn't talk about Lakotas. It talks about people, the indigenous groups that are closer to home, whose land I am on, like land acknowledgement stuff. So definitely not the Lakotas. Way far away from that. But I wanted to share this. I wanted to share my finding and how I was able to feel comfortable including that in my poetry, even though I don't have those experiences because I am white. I am Irish American. So firstly, I'm gonna, again, not close to home for me, but it is an oral anthology of Cherokee women and their experiences, colonialization, allotment, Trail of Tears, Civil War, everything that happened, including my, hold on, where is she? This woman right here, Wilma Mankiller. Shit you not, that's her birth name. That, first of all, one of the coolest names I have ever heard in my entire life. Hi, my name's Wilma Mankiller, and I'm the first elected woman to be chief of the Cherokee Nation. What are we talking about? Do you know how badass that is? What are we talking about? So yeah, her essay is in this book, and it was genuinely one of my favorite parts of this book, I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed listening to Wilma Mankiller and like reading her words. Here, I'll read this little excerpt right here to give you a sense of idea of where this came from. In 1987, Wilma Mankiller, 1945 to 2010, became the first woman elected principal chief. She remained in that position until she retired in 1995. In an essay entitled Womanhood, published in an anthology called Every Day is a Good Day, Reflections by Contemporary Indigenous Women, Mankiller talked about the important women in her life. Read this book. And from it, this is how it relates back to my poem, is that I learned a lot. And from that, I was like, okay, I can better my activism because I have learned. I can better my amplification of Indigenous voices because I've actually done the damn work to do that. Sometimes the work looks like reading. Sometimes the work looks like listening and engaging. And also the work sometimes looks like you writing a poem. And so that's why I did it. On top of that, oh yeah, when you go antique book shopping with me, you find literal art. Through Yupik eyes, I can't pronounce that because it is in Yupik. I don't know how to pronounce and or read. Poems and photographs by Yupik, and then it says a slur. And then this, I can't read the last name, but this was drawn by, I think, one of the students, because this book poetry, St. Mary's High School student body. Photography, Priscilla Hooper, that's who drew, yep, Priscilla Hooper, Alan Joseph, Simon Lincoln, and Rosalie Moses. Which, by the way, it also, this is something I love about books, when people write this kind of stuff. It says, to Mike from Charlie. Lots of heart expressed here. wow. And I saw that and I was like, oh. The copyright is from 1976. The publisher is Van Cleef Printing Company in Anchorage, Alaska. And this is probably one of the most gorgeous books I've ever read. It is an English translation and a Yupik translation. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that Yupik right. I would love to learn how to pronounce it correctly if I'm doing it wrong. And then alongside it is just photos of the actual, like, real ass people that lived in Alaska at that time in 1976. Probably also from 1975. From this, I was able to read, like, poetry written by real Indigenous people. And while that gave some inspiration in terms of, like, the more nature side of it, but also because I was on a damn hike, I don't know, it just felt more connective. It felt more connected to write after reading, like, real, Indigenous people's writings and work. And that's what I was trying to get at when I was talking about this. These two really helped me, like, just feel a bit more connected. I really hope that what I was trying to get through was concise enough, because I do get nervous about that kind of stuff and my words getting misinterpreted or miscommunicated. But I will clarify things because it's easier for me to write than to talk. In the comments, if you have any questions of like, can you clarify on this or can you clarify on that? I'd be happy to do so, to be honest. But piggybacking off of talking about my writing and talking about how my activism plays into it and how my solidarity, showings of solidarity, which is part of my activism, this is the most autistic thing that ever happened on camera. I was gonna go somewhere and then as soon as I saw my writing, I was like, we can edit that. And then I was like, wait, no, I had something to say. No, please. But piggybacking off of what I was trying to explain, trying to elaborate, poetry for me is my tool. I once saw something on Pinterest. I know, I use Pinterest a lot. It just does my little brain well. Is that we gotta use our own tools. And I found that in-person activism makes me very anxious. It does. I get a shit ton of anxiety. And I feel like I'm about to have a panic attack when I go and do like in-person protests. And as much as I love doing that, and as much as I love speaking and like pushing back against that anxiety, I wish I didn't have to have it in the first place. And I think that's something I need to work on before I go back out, so I can keep myself safe and keep everyone else safe. Because say if like I had a meltdown or I had a panic attack, that could be putting other people at risk. Because we know, I don't think I need to point out what could possibly happen. Just, yeah. So, there's that. Again, we all have our tools. The pen is my tool. And if I need to do my activism and show my solidarity and show love, kindness, caring, acceptance, appreciation, and my want for liberation of all groups under oppression with my pen, with a little bear on it. His name is Charlie, by the way, because he has a C on it. So C for Charlie. Then I will fucking do so, because that is the right thing to do, and I'm happy to do it because I love poetry, I love writing. Yeah. Something I realized I forgot while editing this is that I forgot to mention that in the link in the description will be a bunch of like Indigenous led organizations and creators that you should also go support, because do I have to explain why that you should do that and why I should be telling you to do that, considering the fact that I, like, do I really have to? Please, 2 + 2 = 4, guys. Just put it together. I promise you're smart enough to do it. But yeah, no, there will be different Indigenous-led organizations, Indigenous creators that you should go support, because you should write about these things. You should write about land back. You should write about the oppression. And at the same time, you should support the actual creators, the actual Indigenous creators, Indigenous people, and in their lives and their livelihoods, and like donate if you can, and participate in that mutual aid with Indigenous communities, because they, we're on their land. It is the very fucking least we can do.
So, hashtag land back.